All right, Jules, let's continue with this France-Portugal, and then we're going to cycle back to Spain-Germany, then we're going to try to put on our Stuart Robson's hats and try to preview how the semifinal might go.
Yeah.
I have to start with this. And look, I am not picking on Forrest Gump / Didier Deschamps.
Forrest Gump, you said?
Yeah.
What's Forrest Gump?
Forrest Gump?
No, but why Deschamps Forrest Gump?
So Forrest Gump is somebody who... Come on, you know the Forrest Gump...
No, I know who Forrest Gump is. I can't see the link between Forrest Gump and Deschamps.
Is when you keep advancing without having any clue what the hell's going on.
What?
Because honestly, in this game,
Deschamps has no clue.
Okay, well, no, please let's go through the Deschamps clues, right? So, I'll just ask you some questions, and you be the judge advocate for Deschamps, right? Okay. So let's start with. I need to make a change up front. So he's already made the change where he's decided that I need more defensive midfielders because I like to be even more defensive than I have been, despite the fact that they're not scoring any goals from open play or whatever. I'm not going to bore you with the stat because I think it's silly, but I will. 2 own goals and 1 penalty, yeah? This is the reality for 5 games of football from probably the most talented team of the tournament, right? So your solution then is to put on more defensive midfielders.
More than when?
Well, more than, for example, when you had...
You played as many defensive midfielders against Portugal and against Belgium the round before.
Right, but not in the group stage, right?
The last
in the group stage, you had 2 defensive midfielders. You had Griezmann, you had Thuram, Mbappe, and Deschamps, right? Deschamps, Dembele, right? You had 4 attacking players, right? Then your solution now is, let me add Chouameni, let me take out Dembele, right? And then on top of that, but plus obviously Camavinga for Rabiot when he's suspended, right? And then on top of that, let me take out Thuram, who's good, and put on Colomwani, who's not good, right? But runs around even more than Thuram, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking to myself, what would you keep moving further and further back on the pitch? And the solution here, the impact, as I see it, is when Antoine Griezmann has a bad game, as he did in this game, when he's not influencing things, Antoine Griezmann basically becomes your own sole source of creativity. Not because the players around him can't do it, because many of them can, but because you've taken them all off and replaced them with other people and then instructed them to just defend and keep the ball. Am I reading this incorrectly?
No, he tried something with Griezmann as a 10, in a diamond midfield that didn't work, but because he didn't play any wingers, you're right, the creativity had to come from there, or maybe one of the fullbacks, but this is more...
But look at the impact Dembele had when he came on. All of it, Dembele comes on, he scares the pants off you. And, people say, Dembele, end product, can't finish. I don't really care. Dembele is so disruptive when he comes 100%. On that everybody else goes and craps themselves. I don't know if there is an impact sub you can make in the world, but then don't have him as an impact sub. Have him start because he's better than...
No, I agree with you. I think he should have started. Certainly at halftime, he was crying out for him or Barcola or Coman. I don't know, whoever, one of those kind of profile. Because
Coman, I'm assuming, isn't fit because I haven't seen the guy.
No, he's fit. It's just I mean, he went back with his wife for the birth of the baby, and but he came back. He only left for like 2 days, like Foden did. So but he chose something different. He wanted a very narrow block against Portugal, and but where I disagree with you in the sense that he has a clue. This is what he wants. This is his style. But he will always go for the more defensive approach than for anything else with the ball. So when Griezmann played wide against Belgium, that was simply to help Koundé with defending on Doku. So the priority was clearly the defensive strength more than anything else with the ball. And Griezmann on the right, I don't really care. Will he be involved with the ball? Not so much. But it doesn't matter because without the ball, it's going to help us so much.
This is my problem. And look, we slaughtered Gareth Southgate for this. We will continue to slaughter him. And I'm not saying France have been as bad as England in this tournament. However, that brand of football, I know France won. There's a reason why football teams do not play this way. And football teams with better players is because over time it doesn't work. It can work over a short period in a tournament, and it has worked for France.
Yeah.
But what I don't understand is, unlike Southgate, who never achieved much as a club manager, Deschamps actually did achieve things as a club manager years ago, right? He delivered the title, was it at Marseille, right? The first title in a million years, right? He didn't necessarily play like this brand of football. So it shows that...
It was always quite pragmatic, though.
But you can be pragmatic, but he's shown that he's got that side of him too. And when you look at this and you say, look, we came so close to getting knocked out against Belgium, right?
So
what? You make a face, close. But yes.
Where was the closeness again?
What was the result?
1-0, but that was not close to being knocked out.
It was one goal. One goal difference.
It's not like Slovakia, England, for example. They were not behind in the 94th minute.
You're playing Belgium.
Yeah.
You're playing Belgium, right? Belgium, who do not have the players. I might want to play the combined 11 game again vis-a-vis Belgium, right? But that should be a warning. That should be a warning that tells you, oh, look, one mistake and we're out. What can I do to actually create more chances, to use the tools that I have? And he doesn't do that in this game against Portugal.
He does use the tools that he has. This is the team. You win trophies like this with your defense, not with anything else. Not with beautiful football. Not with super attacking style. Nobody with super attacking style. Not even Argentina with Messi. They had 3 defensive midfielders as well.
Okay, we're not talking about Argentina.
That's not the point.
Argentina do not have the players France has. Okay,
but that's not the point. Sorry. That's not the point. That's not the point. They were first and foremost solid, and every team that wins big tournaments are solid more than anything else.
Yeah, over 7 games after the fact, everybody looks solid. No team that's going to go win. This is one of those tautologies, Jules. This is one of those, and no team that goes and wins a tournament afterwards, you're going to say, well, they didn't look solid. No, of course not. The team, they won the tournament, they will always come back. But the question is, ultimately, do you create more than what you concede? And we saw in the Portugal game, I think very obviously, Portugal had the bulk of the better chances. It was a lot closer, despite the fact Portugal had a 41-year-old playing at center back.
Yeah.
That France has. I mean, you know who the French players. I don't need to go and list them. This idea that I need all these defensive midfielders because what? I think Saliba and Upamecano can't handle 39-year-old Cristiano on their own. The one area actually was one pregame, and I don't want to troll back, but we talked about Rafael Leao against Koundé. Now, I think it's safe to say that is where France really, really struggled. Rafael Leao played a big game there.
Yeah, he was good.
But other than that, it's still Rafael Leao. You say Rafael Leao, I say Dembele, I say Mbappe. There's so many options, and this does not concern you.
But I just don't understand this. What's concerning me? That we don't score goals? Yeah, that's a problem. The XG is 9 in this tournament. They've scored 3. None of them from them.
What was the XG against Portugal?
1.2.
And Portugal's?
1.4.
He was 1.7.
Okay, 1.7. But I don't care. What are you talking to me about XG? Yes, Portugal had more chances. They could have scored goals. They didn't score goals. We won on penalties.
Right.
Like France will always be defensive. It will always be the style of Deschamps. This is their DNA.
Okay, so
I don't like it.
I'm going to give up on this. I'll make one more point.
No,
I'm fine with you being defensive.
But it's almost like you said, I can't wait to see them playing differently. They're never going to play differently.
Right,
so why are we having this
The
debate?
reason you need to play differently, I think.
But they won't.
Listen. If you're going to play defensively, well, I'm getting my licks in before.
Yeah.
After he gets knocked out and screws the pooch against Spain.
But
because the reason you play defensively, if you're going to say we're going to play defensively, whatever, then you do not concede chances. Then you do not struggle the way you do. Then you're effective on the counter and you pump teams on the counter and whatever, right? Which I presume is what he's hoping to do. It's not what happens. They play defensively when, again, and another example, right? You can play defensively and you figure, well, Kylian's going to have all the space to run into. How many times was Kylian released in this game? Here you have arguably
he's not fit. Yeah, there's clearly a problem.
So it's Kylian's lack of fitness. It's not a system which doesn't deliver him the ball in transition.
He says himself he doesn't run in behind because he doesn't like the ball is not going to come. That's not how they play. But he's clearly not fit. The mask is a problem, maybe an excuse, I don't know. Right. But there's clearly something wrong. There's clearly something wrong with him, as in the sense that he's not at his best right now. So let's hope he can be at his best for the next game at least.
Moving on to your opponents, Spain and Germany. Nagelsmann has made the changes throughout the tournament.
Yeah.
Unlike other coaches. Was he vindicated in this game?
I thought he made a mistake with the Sané instead of Wirtz starts. I thought Wirtz should start, and he had such a big impact after coming on at half-time, where Sané was completely, I thought, anonymous in that first half. So I think he got this one wrong. Then after that, to be fair, they came back into the game strongly once Dani almost scored that goal, especially later when I thought De La Fuente maybe a bit too early took out all his best players, because the second unit of Spain is obviously not as good as the first one. And I know Merino scored and it's a great header, but you felt the difference once the best player of the Spain team came off and the others came on, and then Germany were on top.
I thought he did that because he thought, well, part of it is this archetype about Spanish players compared to German players, not having the same levels of stamina and blah, 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 which I don't know, may or may not be true. I think it's kind of an old wives' tale. But then again, he's the coach. He can see it, right? Yeah. He's got people who tell him. I think that's a big part of the reason why he did that. And I also do think that there's a belief that, Mikel Merino may play for Real Sociedad and whatever, and, he may have failed to step up when he was younger. But qualitatively, there isn't necessarily this enormous gap between, say, Merino and Fabian Ruiz.
Maybe not.
Right?
I thought more about Ferran Torres and Oyarzabal and players like that who don't keep the ball up. For example, like even like a Lamine would do, or Morata. I would not have changed so much. Right. That's all.
Oyarzabal, I got no issue with. Ferran Torres was a bit frustrating.
Yeah.
That much maligned defense that I keep poking fun of. Again, I don't think they were great again, but they did generally get the job done. Now, your friend Robin suspended for the final.
Yeah.
Dani Carvajal out. It's funny.
And Pedri out, obviously. As well.
And Pedri obviously out too. So those are three pieces you need to replace. Actually, before we talk about how to replace them, Dani Carvajal, when he got sent off, right? Part of me, and I like Carvajal, part of me says, all right, dude, you've already picked up a yellow, so you're going to miss the next game.
Yeah.
Was that necessary? Because I'm assuming he's going to miss the final now too, right?
It's only just a one match. I thought it was one match ban.
Okay, then can I say something? For a foul like that?
Yeah, it's a nasty foul.
I think the tournament's over. It's not that it's dangerous necessarily. It's just that it goes so far against the spirit of the game. That kind of tactical foul.
I thought Musiala was really kind in not almost retaliating, not as in not go and punch him and get sent off himself, but I thought it was such a bad foul.
If Carvajal was on my team, I would want him to do that every day of the week. But as a neutral, I'm like, I don't need this.
Not nice.
So what do we? Actually, let's try to preview from on the France side. What changes do we expect to the 11?
Rabiot is going to come back in, obviously, and then
Camavinga goes out.
Yeah.
Okay, so again we go back to, let's take off the good player and put it on the Rabiot. Okay, all right, that's fine.
That's your opinion.
The Rabiot who's unemployed right now, yeah.
Deschamps thinks that Rabiot in a game like this is better than Camavinga. So I don't know. And then
I think he thinks this in every game because he always starts Rabiot when he's available.
Yeah, he loves Rabiot. Okay, I think Rabiot has a lot of qualities too. It's not just Camavinga. I don't think the gap between them two is.
Okay, more interestingly.
Yeah, I think they're going to drop Griezmann. It's just they've tried in different positions, different system. It hasn't worked for him. I think he's doesn't have the legs anymore. He's 33. I think this could be his last competition too. For France.
Impact sub Griezmann then.
But then we saw against Poland coming off the bench, there was no impact. I'm not even sure he can be an impact sub anymore. But we will have to see the scenario of the game. And I think for Antoine, not starting a game like this against Spain, which is obviously he spent more time, he's lived more in Spain than in France in his life, it would be really hurtful. So he might not drop him, but if it looks like his first idea is maybe to drop him and go back to the 4-3-3 with either Dembele and Barcola and Kylian central, or certainly Dembele there, Mbappe on the left, and then probably Thuram as a 9.
So no more Colomwani for now.
No more now. But to be fair, you said that, but against Portugal he had a big chance,
Which he didn't take.
He didn't take, but neither did Cristiano, Vitinha or Bruno, and they're better players than Colomwani. So
I thought Vitinha had a really good game. Nuno Mendes, all these players who I generally don't like. I'm saying nice things about Paris Saint-Germain.
No, but you're right, they were good. But then Nuno against Dembele struggled as soon as Dembele came on.
I think everybody would struggle against
Dembele.
Dembele.
When he's in that kind of form.
When he's in that kind of form. And for Spain,
Jesus Navas at right back, Nacho centre back.
That's a lot of age coming on
Dani
there.
Olmo instead of Pedri, which is a different profile. Maybe doesn't press as efficiently, but brings you something else.
Is that so automatic to Dani Olmo for Pedri in this one? Because I'm just wondering, against France, would I want maybe another passer in there rather than Dani Olmo?
Yeah, maybe. Although playing between the lines, they will have a lot of the ball. They will have 60%, 65% of the ball easily. So maybe you need somebody who can play between the line instead of having maybe a passer. But if
I'm playing three defensive midfielders, three very good ones, three very athletic ones, very smart ones who fill a lot of space.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if maybe I'm not better off with another passer. I'm trying to play more of a patient possession rather than having Dani Olmo in that role.
Yeah, maybe. Although I think the patient build-up would suit France because they would be so well organized, medium block. They would have to move much. So I would rather somebody between the lines, to be fair. But we'll see. And Dani Olmo replaced Pedri. I know it's a different game, different opposition. But it looks like, this is the kind of substitute.
Who has more options to change things off the bench?
We love Oyarzabal together. Ferran Torres, not so much. Then it's a good point, actually. I don't know. There might be a little bit more depth in the French squad.
There's definitely more depth of talent. I do kind of feel De La Fuente is more likely to make changes. Like if it's 0-0 with an hour gone, I feel like De La Fuente is more likely to make changes to win the game. Whereas Deschamps is more likely to make the changes either to maintain because the level has dropped.
Definitely.
Or obviously if they fall behind, send on the...
I think the best would be, I guess, an early Spain goal. Because I think the French would be so happy with keeping the 0-0, being well organized, and just waiting for that moment. That will, undoubtedly come at some point, and then go and try to be efficient and punish them. So an early goal from Spain, then it will open things up massively, and then the game will be better. Otherwise, it will be attack v defense, and I'm not sure that's pretty.
You know how we love predictions and percentages, so I will ask you a prediction that I think what most people really care about. Percent chance we see Olivier Giroud play at some point.
Well, it will only depend on the scenario.
I know.
But I
want to see him on the pitch.
I know.
I just want to see him.
And that was what could be, by the way, his last cap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's see.
All right, we're not going to predict who wins the game because these predictions are stupid. We told you how we think the game's going to go. In the end, it's a low-scoring game. Deal with it. There's a lot of randomness.